Joining us now, Democratic Mayor of Dearborn, Michigan, Abdullah Hammoud. Mayor, it's great to see you, and I thank you for your time. So last week you were actually invited to meet with the Biden campaign along with other Arab leaders, which you declined. Why?
Thank you so much for having me. I believe that this is actually not a moment for electoral politics. You know, over the course of now nearly 120 days, Israel has murdered and killed over 26,000 innocent men, women, and children in Gaza, displaced over 2 million. And for us, Palestinian lives should not be measured in poll numbers. If we want to have a conversation, it should be one that is had with senior policymakers and decision makers that can help us chart a new course as to what's unfolding overseas. And that conversation does not happen with campaign staff.
So what conversation do you think should be had, and what conversation would you have directly with the president?
I think at the outset, the first conversation I would have is on the need to demand and call for a permanent and unconditional ceasefire. That is something that is extremely important. We see a humanitarian crisis unfolding. And secondly, with any decision makers around the table from the administration, we'd have a conversation on how we have to change course on what's unfolding across the Middle East. You know, just last week, Secretary Blinken has come out and said this is the most volatile that the Middle East has been in the last 50 years. So based on that rhetoric, we can clearly see that the path and the choices that have been made by this administration are certainly not the correct ones. So we have to embark on a new path. And we here in Dearborn, we hail from many of these countries across the Middle East, from Lebanon, from Syria, from Yemen, from Palestine. So we have the firsthand accounts for what it's like to live in these countries. Our parents are immigrants and refugees. So use our experience to put pen on paper and chart a new course together.
And so I'm just wondering what a new course would look like for you to be satisfied. And I'm just wondering, I mean, the president of the United States has been very clear that a lot, if not all, of the United States reaction to what has been going on there had to do with the 7th of October. And I'm just wondering, what is it that you see as a different chart or path going forward for the American government?
I don't believe that dropping bombs is leading to peace. I think if we've seen anything since October 7th, it's in fact diplomatic efforts when there was a short humanitarian pause that led to some positive outcomes. We need diplomacy to lead. This president ran on bringing back decency and good moral conscience to the White House. He ran on the idea that he had foreign policy experience to end endless wars in the Middle East, and that's certainly not what we're seeing. And so that would be the course that I would implore, that diplomacy should lead. You know, just yesterday, the president has come out and said that he holds Iran responsible for the killing of 3 U.S. soldiers in Jordan. If I take that same logic, then would I not hold my president responsible for the 2,000-pound bombs that he supplies Israel that is indiscriminately being dropped on innocent men, women, and children? So we need to have the exact parallels. We need to not be hypocritical when we talk about policy, and we need to lead with diplomatic efforts.
And Mayor, in an interview, you were asked about a potential matchup between Biden and Trump. And I know that you don't want to talk politics, but politics is a key part of our world. You said, quote, as it pertains to the decisions that are being made overseas, it seems like there's no real difference between former President Trump and current President Biden. What do you mean by that?
You know, the clip that was shown to me was President Trump advocating for eliminating the funding for the UNRWA, the United Nations Relief Work Agency, which is in fact something that President Biden had just done. And so it was actually the same, you know, Trump was talking about it, Biden was doing it. From my respect, Trump is a threat to American democracy. And I am not blind to what is being said by him and other Republican presidential candidates at the podium. So that question should fall back to President Biden. What will you do to prevent the very fabric of American democracy from unraveling? That is a question that should fall squarely onto the candidate. What will you do to earn the trust and respect of your voters across America? Because what we're imploring is not that what we're asking for is not just important to Arab Americans and Muslim Americans. The majority of Americans side with us in calling and demanding for a ceasefire.
Mayor Abdullah Hammoud, I can't thank you enough for your time. Let's continue our conversation going forward. Appreciate it.
Thank you.